It's very easy to criticize Russia. It's very easy to criticize China financially, etc. There's an absolute financial disaster in real estate going on in China. Russia is having to pay for a very expensive war. They're looking at the future and they're saying we need to go back to something real. The funny thing is, the answer to your question and to what Frank Holmes said, of course, the Russians and Chinese bought gold because it's an insurance policy against financial chaos. Today, Frank Holmes was talking about a decade, but I would say for the last 2 years, probably 80% of the purchases of gold and silver by central banks or by governments would be Russia and China, and that's because they see what the future is bringing.
Bob Moriarty is a well-known figure in the finance and precious metals industry, recognized for his sharp insights and unconventional perspectives on global markets. Moriarty has consistently emphasized the importance of gold and silver as safe haven assets, particularly during economic uncertainty. He suggests that nations like China and Russia are fully aware of the value of these metals, especially amid growing global instability. Over the past few years, both countries have been significant buyers of gold and silver, treating these metals as insurance against potential financial chaos and the collapse of fiat currencies. The gold market continues to experience upward pressure as various global factors, including geopolitical tensions and economic uncertainty, favor higher prices. Analysts remain bullish on gold, viewing any pullbacks as buying opportunities. They point to the actions of several central banks, such as those in India, Russia, and China, which have been steadily accumulating gold. This sustained demand from major global players suggests the possibility of a long-term bid, further driving the market higher. Moriarty also argues that the U.S. economy is on a dangerous trajectory, with excessive spending on wars and foreign aid contributing to inflation and government dysfunction. He highlights mismanagement in the country's disaster response efforts and its involvement in conflicts in Israel and Ukraine as signs of more profound systemic failures. The challenging economic landscape presents opportunities for savvy investors despite this grim outlook. As inflation, once deemed transitory, now stabilizes at lower levels, particularly across the developed world, the broader narrative of economic recovery is being discussed. However, the persistent demand for gold, driven by central banks and geopolitical concerns, may provide a lasting foundation for higher prices, offering a chance for investors to capitalize on the current uncertainty. Make sure to tune in for our expert analysis. Don't miss out on future content. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay in the loop. Your support is greatly appreciated.
Both China and Russia have some really bright people economically, and believe me, they are burning the midnight oil to try to figure out what to do. And the strange thing is, let's go back to the revolution in France, started in 1789. And the very first currency they came up with, France had bankrupted itself by getting involved in the American Revolution. And without the French involvement in the revolution, the rebels would have lost, absolutely. So America won the war because of the French, but it also bankrupted Louis XV. So by 1789, the people in France couldn't afford wheat, so there was a revolution. They came up with their own paper currency, their fiat currency, as it were, called the assignat. And they replaced the assignat with another currency a few years later, and the same thing happened with that. And then in 1795, there was a colonel in the French army who said, merde. And the French colonel's name was Napoleon. And he said, shit, okay, we can't keep doing this stupid stuff. We need to come up with our own stupid stuff. And the amazing thing is, nobody knows this. France, under Napoleon, went back to gold and silver as currency. And all of the wars that France fought up until had been financed internally. They didn't go into debt to do it. All France had to do to recover is to go back to a real currency. And certainly I can assure you the Chinese and the Russians are aware of this. Now, it's very easy to criticize Russia. It's very easy to criticize China financially, etc. There's an absolute financial disaster in real estate. going on in China. Russia is having to pay for a very expensive war. However, they're looking at the future and they're saying we need to go back to something real. The funny thing is, the answer to your question and to what Frank Holmes said, of course, the Russians and Chinese bought gold because it's an insurance policy against financial chaos. So I would say probably today, Frank Holmes was talking about a decade, but I would say for the last 2 years, probably 80% of the purchases of gold and silver by central banks or by governments would be Russia and China. And that's because they see what the future is bringing. And the United States totally insane. I mean, we're out of control. The United States is shipping American soldiers to Israel today so they can participate in genocide. And I cannot tell you how much I am against genocide. The empire is collapsing. There's no question whatsoever it's going to collapse. The standard of living in the United States is going to go down. Inflation is going to go through the roof. A lot of people are going to starve. You certainly see it in Florida. You see it in North Carolina. The United States government is now totally, absolutely dysfunctional. We have sent billions of dollars to Israel. We have sent hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine. And when a massive hurricane comes, several thousand people in North Carolina lost their lives because FEMA gave all the money away to the illegal immigrants, and the illegal immigrants were brought in so they could vote Democrat. If that isn't insane, I don't know what is.
Based on recent market trends, the gold price appears poised for a significant move. Analysts eye a target of $2,800 and potentially even higher. The market could reach the $3,000 level, though this may take a gradual approach. The current sentiment remains firmly bullish, and any pullbacks are seen as buying opportunities. In such a strong uptrend, shorting the market holds little appeal. The silver market has also shown strength, with prices rallying in early trading and testing the critical $32.50 level. However, silver remains a highly volatile asset requiring careful management. Investors need to approach silver cautiously, as large price swings can significantly impact accounts if caught on the wrong side of the trade. Bob Moriarty's outlook complements this sentiment. Despite economic challenges, he argues that downturns present significant opportunities. Moriarty emphasizes the importance of buying when demand is low and selling when it surges, focusing more on market sentiment than technical details. This contrarian approach aligns with the current outlook for gold and silver, where periods of market pessimism create prime conditions for long-term gains. Let's get back to the interview.
All things change. So if all things change and it's a disaster now, and it literally has been a disaster since 1965. I posted a chart that somebody gave me in one of my pieces a few weeks ago, and it showed that there's this very significant decline in the value of gold shares compared to gold that's been going on since 1965. There is so much incredible opportunity right now if you'll take it. If you want me to mention a specific stock, I can give you a stock that's doubled in the last month, and it's probably going to double again in the next month. But there is so much opportunity right now. The fact that it's been a disaster is a good thing. You can make money if you buy when nobody wants it and you sell when everybody wants it. You don't have to know anything about gold. You don't have to know anything about silver, mining stocks, interest rates, currencies, any of that bullshit. If you understand people, when everybody wants somebody, when everybody's buying Beanie Babies, that's a great time to sell. Well, this one I like a lot because they came out with a press release exactly a month ago, and they drilled 680 meters of mineralization, and they had 40 instances of visible gold. And the company is called Sitka, and it's in the Yukon, and it's a special kind of deposit, very similar to that of snowline. And I think it's going to end up being 10 or 20 or 30 million ounces of gold. Now, they haven't announced the assay results yet, but they're going to announce assay results, and I think it'll be this week. And I think people are going to understand. Snowline at Sitka had exactly the same kind of deposit. Snowline's been much more aggressive drilling. So they went from nothing to $850 million in 2 years. And Sitka has been slow. However, I think they've got a better deposit. Now, 3 weeks ago, Snowline was worth 10 times as much as Sitka. And right now, Snowline is worth 7 times as much as Sitka, but Sitka is going to catch up. And the one thing that I want to say is you could go into a dark room, you could blindfold yourself, put all the gold companies up on the wall and throw a dart, and you're going to hit a winner. Okay. The fact that it's been such a disaster is a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
As global uncertainty continues to influence markets, gold and silver remain strong contenders for long-term investment, with central bank demand and geopolitical factors pushing prices higher. While both metals face short-term volatility, the overall trend suggests continued opportunities for those willing to navigate the current landscape carefully. How do you see the future of gold and silver in light of these economic challenges? Share your perspective in the comment section. If the video resonates with you, join our community by subscribing to our channel and enabling notifications with the bell icon. Thank you for being a part of our community.